Hi guys, I am Susan from Orange Light Energy. I think this will just be a short video today, but who knows. So, I guess how is everybody feeling? Yesterday I felt very full of anxiety, a little restless, couldn't really figure out where it was coming from. Tonight, or last night, was a little restless, but when I woke up this morning I didn't think much about it. But when I got out of bed, I was really off balance. I felt dizzy. I was kind of leaning to the left a lot. Like I just couldn't quite find the equilibrium. It kind of has stayed with me. That's part of the reason I'm outside right now doing this video. I'm trying to ground myself a little bit. Also, my husband is working from home today and he doesn't know how to be quiet. But I still feel that little bit disconnected, that little bit lightheaded, and I have a tendency to be quite very sensitive to energy when anything shifts. So I asked Archangel Metatron, my main guide, to give me some understanding of what happened, and I could see the shifting of timelines, the shifting of energies, but it was on a really big scale. Normally when you see timelines, it looks like a train track and you're switching from one to the other, but this was different. This was like a shifting of plates. Like when they show you the earth plates, tectonic plates moving, this was not about something physical, this was something energetic, but the way that they referenced it to me was as if plates were shifting. Things were moving in a way that would create great change. If you think when the tectonic plates move on the earth, it's about earthquakes, tsunamis, like these big events. That's the feeling that they gave, that this is something impactful, it's something important. Some people may not notice it. My husband has no idea. My kids didn't seem anywhere out of the ordinary, but it was impactful to me. I've noticed it with animals too. This morning, my neighbor has teenage cats. You know, they're still young, and 3 of them were in my driveway. They came all the way up to the house, which my cats were not happy about, and so we had a little fight in the driveway. My cats were inside and their cats were outside. They didn't actually touch each other, they just yelled a lot. Birds have been odd. There was crows around just sitting, and other birds seemingly restless around them. So there's a shift of some sort. So I just wanted to address it in case anybody else is feeling that disruption, is experiencing this kind of change. So there's a couple of crystals that Metatron had flagged with me that I brought out, and I pulled some cards. I also brought the tuning forks, because I've been finding sound is a really powerful tool for us right now. Something that can really help us to stay in balance, can help us to bringing it back to equilibrium, to balance, to recalibrate, to find that center. So the crystals that he talked about, this one is smoky quartz. This one I just got. I've been loving smoky quartz recently. This is a dark smoky quartz. I held this one a lot yesterday. Like I really felt the need to just hold it to my heart, to have it help to soothe things, and I've been drawn to it again today. Also, there was clear quartz. These are worry stones, which if you get them, they fit really nicely between your thumb and your finger, and it's relaxing. If you're meditating, if you're sitting quietly, they're very smooth. You can hear the plane. I live fairly near an airport. But yeah, these clear quartz is a great cleanser. It's an amplifier, but it's also good at clearing, at releasing. You know, just sitting with these, letting yourself feel them, to relax, to just let them help you to clear things, to have them help you with finding that balance. Just setting that intention for them as you sit with them. It's interesting too, my last video, it was a channeled message from Kansu on grief. We talked about light and dark. I had the paintings from Katrin about light and dark, and then the crystals today are light and dark. smoky quartz and the clear quartz. So I'm sure there's no coincidences with that. It's funny, I almost brought the paintings outside again. But yeah, the balance of light and dark, equality, equilibrium, that's the word they keep bringing balance back. So the cards that I pulled were from this deck, the Oracle of the Seven Energies by Colette Baron Reid. I love this deck. This is one of the first ones Jennifer and I started working with, and it just, I don't know, I always feel like this one comes up at significant times. So I have a lot of cards they pulled from this, so I'm just going to go through them fairly quickly because they're telling a story, they're giving a little bit of information, which for each of us obviously will interpret differently. So I can give them to you from the way I read them, how I feel them in these energies. So my question to Metatron had been, what is happening? What do we need to know? Now I like to leave things fairly open to give him the opportunity to bring through what do we need, what is helpful to us, so that I keeps bringing this back. When you define something, you limit it. If you put boundaries on something, you limit it. So I just left it open. What do we need to know? So the first card that I got, the Uncharted Sea. I heard somebody say this the other day, uncharted territory. There's been a lot of talk about the times we live in being unprecedented, but this is uncharted, unexplored, undiscovered, something we haven't gone through before. There's discomfort in that. There's dis-ease in that. Things we're not familiar with. We can't predict it. We don't know what to do with it. We have to forge a new path. This is the boat. There's a bird on here. I was just talking about the birds being restless. We've had a lot of issues with water recently. If you think about how much water is on the earth, how much of it we don't yet understand, we don't yet know. There's something here about that depth, that what we've seen so far is only the surface. There's more for us to understand. The next card is a burst of magic. That trigger, something that just brings you something unexpected, something you didn't see coming, something that opens a door to something you couldn't have anticipated, which brings you to a grand symphony, the working together. What can we bring to this? What can the energies bring? What can our guides bring? Where are we going? It's like all of the pieces coming together, like when you're doing a jigsaw puzzle and all of the pieces fit together to create the bigger picture, but you have to bring things together. A communion of energies, collaboration. There's strength when we work together, moving past the division. Smoke and mirrors. This is about illumination, about the truth coming forward. Veils falling, masks being taken off, seeing the truth of situations. Things that may have been hidden in your personal life or as a collective, things that have been hidden, things that we have believed as truth, things that we have just thought that's the way it was, and suddenly it's unmasked, it's uncloaked, it's something else, and we have to be open to that. We have to be willing to see past what we have believed, what we have expected. The power of purpose. This looks like cogs, or there's a bow and arrow, a target that's being aimed at. This is our part in this. What are we working towards? Are we coming to all of this from fear? Are we sitting here anticipating the worst? Or are we manifesting our own future? Are we calling in what it is that we want? We have our meeting with the Patreon group this week, and one of the messages that I have, actually both of the messages that I have to bring forward for the group this week, are about the power of the present. Don't dwell on what has gone. Don't worry about what hasn't yet happened. Be in the moment. Set your target. What are you working towards? What is it that you want? What is the future that you want? Don't get distracted by all the noise. Don't get distracted by the smoke and mirrors. Focus on what it is that you want. Look at these, they both have the spiral, they both have the center of the circle. Which way do you want to go? You want to stick with the old, or do you want to move to the new? Again, it's the light and the dark. Which one do you want? What do you want to focus on? Where do you want to put your energy? There's been a lot of talk about stepping out of the drama and creating something, making something, putting focus on your own energy, learning something, growing in some way. And that's this card. This is the old and this is the new. Again, it looks like Katrin's paintings. The old and the new, where we have been and where we are going. The potential for where we are going. The next card is ears wide open. Being willing to listen, willing to learn, willing to be open to what we didn't expect, to what might not be comfortable, to maybe what we didn't want to hear. There's a lot of comfort in what is familiar. There's a lot of comfort in what we are used to, what has always been. And when that gets disrupted, when change comes, there can be resistance. Allow yourself to be open. Hear with clarity instead of through the cloaking, the clouding. This one made me happy. Waking the lion. Like, this is waking the energy within you, the power within you. You know, we've been through the 7-7 portal, but we're coming up on 8-8, the Lion's Gate. It's the most powerful portal of the year. It's about manifesting, it's about magic. And look, this, you know, it's referencing the lion, it's referencing the magic. Look at the light, the golden color of this lion. This is potential. This is magic. This is who we are. This is where we are, if we are willing to step up. You know, we can bring the light if we are willing to do it. If we don't back down, if we don't step away from it, we can do this. We can bring in these new times, and it can be amazing. It's making me want to cry as I talk about this, but it's like it can be, it's like there's unlimited potential, but we have to want to take it. We have to want to step forward. We have to be willing to step forward, willing to step past the old, to be flexible and to see a different perspective. It's kind of the same thing. Into me I see. Looking inwards. Who are you? What is it that you want? What do you believe? Who are you? Who have you been? What can you reclaim? What can you find in yourself? When you have this kind of faith in yourself, you can rise up. You can have more confidence. You can trust that you can do these things. You know, these wings look beautiful, ethereal, but they also look very graphic, very artistic. Like, they make me think of creation, of creating something. There's elements of maybe Egyptian energy too in this, which, again, the messages I have for the Patreon group tomorrow are from Egyptian gods and goddesses. It's Isis and Ra. And this has that feeling, that energy. And the gods and goddesses, they are that mix of light and dark. I think on the activation page for them, Jennifer explained them as unapologetically powerful. And that's what their energy is, knowing themselves. Why would they doubt that they are powerful? Why would you not want to be powerful? This again feels like a reclamation of that, a willingness to see it in yourself. Wish upon a star. As a child, you know, what did you think the world was when you were a child? You know, the inner child healing has been coming up a lot recently. I have a message about that I need to record, but the inner child, children are playful, they're innocent, they are flexible, they are agile, they are willing to see the new. They're still young, everything is new to them. They don't have that sense of being jaded, of being boxed in by the world yet. They can see that anything is possible. And this feels like the energy of this, the child clutching a star. There's magic around them again, like the lion. They've got that same magical stars. You know, find the joy, find the wonder. Find the magic. Don't be afraid of it. You can be all of these things. You can be powerful and you can be playful. You know, what are you manifesting for yourself? What have you always wanted to do? I just started learning to play the guitar. Always wanted to play the guitar, but I haven't done anything with it. You know, I learned the piano instead. And then one of my kids wanted to learn the guitar and I was so excited. And then suddenly I was like, you know what? I could just learn. If I want to learn, I could learn. But it's something I wanted to do since childhood and I'm bringing it to be now. So just, what is the potential for this moment? How can you grow? Where can you come from? Exposed and revealed. So this again is illumination. But look in the center, there's this fetal figure. It looks like an adult, but in a fetal figure. That's rebirth, new beginnings. You know, they're going back to that innocence, back to that childlikeness. The eye is about seeing, being open, but look at the colors around it, the creativity. What is the potential? This too, it could be like a caterpillar in a chrysalis. It's preparing for the new. It's changing, transforming, preparing for the new times. No, this is a time of transformation, a time of purging and clearing, a time of preparing ourselves for what can come. Almost there. I told you there's a lot of cards. The next one, quieting the mind. Moments of silence. Giving yourself meditation, giving yourself a break from the chaos. You know, I just came outside now. I felt drawn to just come and sit outside, to be quiet, out of the chaos of my house. Just to be still. And that can be meditation, if that's something that feels right to you, but it could also be, are you just going for a walk? Do you live near water? Can you just go to the beach, to walk by the river? Take a bath. Just give yourself space. Give yourself an opportunity to hear yourself, to know yourself. There can be times that in the chaos, you don't know what you want. You don't know how you feel. You get caught up in the moment. Give yourself that opportunity. Tune into your own energy. Tune into your guides. Tune into whatever feels right to you. But give yourself that opportunity to find those moments of peace that can bring you the clarity, that can help you to process, can help you to bring you back, to find your equilibrium. Willing release. So this has a butterfly on it. We're just talking about the chrysalis, but also it has the dandelions. I saw something about dandelions yesterday and somebody was talking about they begin as the sun and they end as the stars. I thought it was really interesting. They've just this transformation that they go through. But to do that, they have to let go. You know, they have the yellow petals and then all of a sudden, instead they have I don't know what the real name is, the white feathery parts. You know, there's a transformation that goes. The butterfly, no longer the caterpillar. They have to let things go. They have to be willing to change. They have to be open to something really big, something that changes them in all ways, changes their structure, changes the physical and the energetic, to morph into something different. And that's what we're being asked to do through all of these energies. That's what we're supposed to do, to change, to transform, to evolve, to become something new, to become something different. And we can grieve that. We can acknowledge the value that it held. We can be grateful for all that it brought, but to cling to the old does not serve. Whether that is understandings, perspectives, relationships, jobs, whatever that is for you. This is about the willingness to transform, to release, to let go of what doesn't serve, what you do not want to carry with you into these new times. So the last one is a higher view. This is about your perspective. How are you looking at a situation? How is it coming into your energy? Are you looking at it only from one perspective, or are you looking at it from a higher perspective? If you react in the moment, if you feel volatile, if you feel threatened, you feel defensive about something, whatever the emotion is, your initial response, give yourself the space to pull back, to look at different angles, to look at different perspectives, to look at it in a way you may not have before, to try to understand why others may see this differently, to let go of the negative emotions, the fears, and to let yourself have greater understanding. It's interesting, comes the airplane again. In the shame session that I do, we work with Metatron, with the soul, to give them understanding of the key event, the trauma that created this origin wound. And within his energy, what they do is give understanding, bigger perspective. A soul who is stuck in the space of judging an event a certain way, but then being shown the bigger picture, being able to understand it differently, being able to see where the value was, how they grew through this, what did they gain from it, to not only dwell on what was the struggle, but how could it help them? How was it beneficial? What was the path of learning? And that seems very relevant here. All of these cards, there's a lot going on. This uncharted sea, the uncharted territories that we're in. Let go of the fear. Look at it from the potential of what it could bring. There's all these things that are familiar to us now, but what is possible? How could they be better? How could we be in a different place? This doesn't have to bring fear. This could be incredible. And as we move through the stages that we are in now, when we are releasing, when we're healing, when we're purging, when we're seeing the things that we need to see, it's hard to see beyond that. But they're encouraging us to look, what is the potential of this? I don't have to be afraid of it. I don't have to be afraid of what I don't understand, what I don't yet have clarity on. I can look at what it can bring. You have this power now to bring about, to choose, to manifest what it is that you want this new space to look like, these new energies to look like. So it's about, this is a gateway, this is an opening, it's an opportunity. However it feels to you right now, to be working towards who you want to be, what you want to be, what do you want your situation to be, how do you picture the world beyond where we are now, how can all of the things that are rising, what could they offer? What could they bring? How could they change you? How could they bring forward just something that's really incredible? All right, so that's all of the cards that I had. The tuning forks Metatron chose for me were pink and red, which I thought was kind of nice. 852 hertz and 396. I don't know. I know there's people that know a lot about tuning forks that can give you, if you're interested, on YouTube. I just realized they match my shirt. People on YouTube that can give you more information, technical information about working with tuning forks if you feel that is your path. To me, I use them in a much more intuitive way. In the same way as the energy videos, I use the ones I feel guided to, and I will move them. When I'm moving them, I can see light coming from the end. They're changing energies. They're marking symbols and energies. So that's what I want to do now, with the intention of bringing each of us balance, finding that equilibrium, but also activating within each of us whatever it is that we need for our highest path in this time. They got a little bit of sunshine back for that. All right, so I'm going to start with the pink one. that feels like what I'm supposed to do. For me, I feel that very much around my head here and in my throat. For you, it may be different. It's dependent on where you are releasing things from, where you needed the balance, what your energy needed in this time. All right. I think that's everything that I wanted to talk through. I hope that everybody is doing well. I hope that these energies are gentle on you, that this information was helpful. I'm sending love to you all. Bye.